No one warns her about the shift. Not because it's rare, but because it's uncomfortable. Before we go deeper, hit subscribe and like the video. This is DepthRealm, where we expose the patterns people don't want to face. In her 20s, the world feels wide open. Attention is constant. Interest is easy. Choice feels infinite. She learns early that access is power. That desirability creates leverage. That if one door closes, 5 more will open. So she explores. She samples. She avoids settling. She collects experiences instead of commitments. And for a long time, nothing seems wrong. Because early freedom doesn't charge interest. Promiscuity, defined not as morality, but as pattern, teaches one core lesson. Connection is replaceable. When attachment feels optional, depth feels unnecessary. Why invest when novelty is abundant? Why commit when curiosity keeps paying dividends? Her nervous system adapts to variety, to stimulation, to fast bonding followed by quick detachment. And detachment becomes skill. She learns how to leave without guilt, how to reset without grief, how to move on without processing. This feels like strength, feels modern, feels protected. But skills trained for abundance don't always work in scarcity. As time passes, something subtle changes. Not her looks overnight, not her intelligence, not her worth. The environment changes. Men become more selective. Options become more intentional. Interest becomes conditional. And for the first time, access slows. That's when the "I'm ready now" phase appears. Not suddenly. Gradually. She notices fewer messages that lead somewhere. More conversations that stall. More interest without follow-through. And something unfamiliar surfaces. Urgency. Not desperation. Urgency. The awareness that time is no longer neutral. That exploration has a half-life. That optionality has a ceiling. Here's the truth no one explains. Promiscuity doesn't damage a woman's value. It recalibrates her attachment system. Years of low-stakes bonding train the brain to expect novelty over continuity. Excitement over consistency. Chemistry over cooperation. So when she finally wants stability, her nervous system resists it. Calm feels dull. Predictability feels empty. Peace feels unfamiliar. This is why the transition is so hard. She says she's ready for commitment, but her body still searches for stimulation. She wants a partner, but responds to the man who triggers adrenaline. She wants security but feels bored by consistency. This internal conflict is not hypocrisy. It's conditioning. And men sense it. Men who want long-term partnerships don't just evaluate attraction. They evaluate attachment patterns. They look for signs of emotional regulation, of follow-through, of capacity for depth. When they feel restlessness behind the words, "I'm ready," they hesitate, not because of her past, but because of her present signals. Signals like impatience, like urgency, like pressure. Pressure doesn't attract commitment. It repels it. Here's the brutal irony. The very experiences that taught her independence also taught her replaceability. And replaceability erodes trust. Men don't ask, "How many partners did she have?" They ask, "Can she stay? Can she tolerate boredom without sabotage? Can she handle routine without restlessness? Can she invest when novelty fades?" Promiscuity doesn't answer those questions. Consistency does. By the time she reaches 30, the market has shifted. Men with leverage no longer compete for access. They select for peace. They aren't impressed by experience. They're cautious of instability. So when she finally wants to be chosen, the criteria has changed. She's no longer evaluated for desirability alone. She's evaluated for sustainability. And sustainability requires skills novelty never taught. patience, attachment tolerance, emotional repair, delayed gratification. This is where frustration begins. She feels she's done everything right. She enjoyed her youth. She learned herself. She avoided settling. And yet, commitment feels harder now, not easier. This is where the story splits. Some women adapt. They slow down. They recalibrate. They retrain their nervous systems for depth instead of stimulation. They choose early. They invest intentionally. They accept that commitment costs freedom and decide it's worth it. And for them, the ready now phase becomes real. Others don't adapt. They bring the same patterns into a new goal. They date widely while claiming to want depth. They keep exits open while asking for security. They escalate urgency without offering stability. And men feel the mismatch. They hear "I'm ready," but sense "I'm anxious." They see desire for outcome, not desire for process. And process is where trust is built. This is why men pull away quietly at this stage. Not because they judge the past, but because they read the present. The "I'm ready now" phase often fails because readiness is declared, not demonstrated. Readiness shows up as patience, not pressure. As follow-through, not fear. As calm selection, not urgency. When readiness is real, it doesn't announce itself. It shows. Here's the part no one likes to admit. Promiscuity conditions short-term reward cycles. Commitment requires long-term regulation. Switching from one to the other is not instant. It requires discomfort. It requires boredom tolerance. It requires grieving the loss of endless novelty. Many women underestimate this transition. They think wanting commitment equals being ready for it. But wanting is not readiness. Readiness is capacity. Capacity to stay, to repair, to choose the same person repeatedly without scanning for alternatives. The women who succeed after 30 don't shame their past. They integrate it. They stop chasing intensity. They stop performing detachment. They stop confusing attraction with activation. They choose peace and learn to find it attractive. The women who struggle blame the market. They say men are afraid, that commitment is dead, that standards are impossible. But the market didn't become cruel. It became selective. And selectivity favors those who adapted early. This isn't punishment. It's alignment. The "I'm ready now" phase exposes a simple truth. Readiness isn't about age. It's about conditioning. Age just removes the buffer. In your 20s, mistakes are absorbed by abundance. After 30, patterns are exposed. And exposure forces honesty. Honesty about what you trained yourself to enjoy, what you trained yourself to avoid, what you prioritized when time felt endless. The final truth is this: promiscuity doesn't doom anyone, but it delays learning the skills that commitment demands. And when learning is delayed, urgency replaces confidence. Men don't reject women for their past. They hesitate when the present feels unstable. The "I'm ready now" phase works only when readiness is embodied, not announced. When peace is practiced, not promised. When choice is early, not forced. When attachment is welcomed, not feared. Those who understand this transition build something real. Those who don't keep asking why nothing sticks. Because commitment doesn't respond to desire alone. It responds to capacity. And capacity is built, not declared. See the pattern. Protect your energy. This is DepthRealm.